So I am getting an average of $100 every single month with my dividend payouts on my investing portfolio. So I want to take you here into my account and actually break some things down, show you how much I earned this last month, as well as kind of show you how I'm actually earning that $100 every single month. Now, spoiler alert there, some months I'm getting paid more than $100 and some I'm actually getting paid pretty much zero. And I'm going to kind of break that down and how that works out. And we're going to kind of see this all here in real time. So I'm on my M1 Finance account. This is where I house my regular investments. I have multiple other kind of accounts, including retirement accounts and whatnot. So this is just for me to build up a brokerage outside of retirement and HSA and all those other things. And it is nicely named Dividend Dennis, even though I don't actually focus on the dividends. I talk a lot about that, but we'll kind of just keep moving along here for our overall account. Now we're sitting at $182,000. As you can see, this is in our all-time, so we're actually up about $36,000. And for those that do know about M1 Finance and are more curious about what it is with unrealized gains, we are at $32,000 for our overall account. If I were to sell everything today, you can see some of our biggest winners right over here. If we go over, Meta is going to be our biggest gain right now at $9,400. Then we got Tesla percentage-wise at $1,900, which is about 43%. We also have SoFi coming in third when it comes to percentage at 39%, which is about almost $5,000, although it has taken a hit over the last week or so. We could also see Apple is still doing well in our overall account too. So we're doing pretty well here. There's only a few stocks and holdings that we have that are under right now. You can see Square or Block, as it's now called, is actually our worst performer by far at about 40% down. We're down about $3,300. I haven't been buying much anymore. We hit over 100 shares, and I kind of like that at this point. And I'm really contemplating getting rid of this stock, and I don't know if I want to wait for like a nice little jump and then get rid of it, or just cut my losses and say goodbye at this point. One of the biggest things when it comes to Square is I do not like their stock-based compensation, and it is getting pretty crazy out there when it comes to how much they are paying out in stock-based compensation. Not that it's the worst thing when a company does that, but when it's really eating up into the opportunity for free cash flow and my ownership of the company, it's becoming less and less appealing to me at this point in my journey. Now you can see here we're at $83 a share with the company overall in there. So again, we're going to be looking for potentially another bump. I think it just is under $50 as of this recording. We can see here the other few that are kind of down are Texas Instrument, Discover Financial, and Ally. Although Texas Instrument, Discover, and Ally all pay out dividends, so when you account for those, I'm actually down less than this, and actually in Ally, I'm technically considered into the positive. And so that's really nice, and it's good to see some of these companies that I've been investing in for such a long time, especially in 2022. If you recall, there was a lot of downside. It pretty much felt like every single week it was going into the red. And so it made it really difficult, but we were constantly investing, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor, or that waiting, I guess you could say, to see a lot of these companies coming back into the green. And it's wonderful, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, just being able to keep on buying at those lower prices was such a sweet thing, especially with the PE ratios on a lot of these companies. So, some of these companies are getting back not only to their 52-week highs, but going beyond those. So I just have a difficult time actually buying when my stocks are at their all-time high. I actually have almost like an inverse effect for myself, where when stocks are low, I tend to have a yearning to be investing in those companies versus the ones that are in their peak at the moment. So for me, the companies I've been investing in outside of slowing down on Square at this point because of hitting that 100 shares, I am actually investing a little bit more into Texas Instrument. We're doing a lot into Discover Financial, and we were investing pretty heavily into Ally for a little while, getting over 300 shares. And these were companies that when they were at their 52-week highs, I was not investing in them, as I was using that money towards other companies that I had that were lower. Now, I personally love to use Seeking Alpha, so I'm here on the page. I'm just making sure things are showing up here. So I have my M1 Finance account logged into here, and what I love to do is look at the 52-week range right over here, and what I'll do, if I can scroll properly, I will take my marker and just kind of go down straight here and see which companies are on the left side of this bar. I try to get it as close to the center, and what I'll do is I'll look at these companies. Oops, let me just just kind of scratch that off here. Look at these companies that are all down here. This one's kind of getting close there. And I'll take a peek at them, and actually Ally is like perfectly in the middle there. And I'll take a peek at them, read the news articles that are attached to them, relook at their numbers and stats and say, okay, are these the companies that I still want to be holding on to? Is it worth, putting more investment into these companies as they are hitting their 52-week lows at this point? And that's why I make some decisions on being able to continue, which is why with Block, I am essentially kind of pausing my investment with them, even though they're at their 52-week low. Even if they got back to their 52-week high, which is at this point just under $90, it still wouldn't be an appealing company for me. Honestly, at this price, or at the PE ratio and everything else kind of coming to it, and how every single quarter has been showing up, I wouldn't even say that they're worth at $50 too. So we'll see how that plays out. You can stick around, make sure you're subscribed, obviously, to catch that and see where we're sitting at as a whole. So anyways, that's what I do with looking at where I'm going to be putting my money in for the majority of my investment for that week or that day, because I do investments throughout the week. And we'll kind of go through there. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not big into needing my dividends today. So for those that have been following, you understand that what I'm looking for is dividends long-term and into the future. But because we also do love dividends and getting paid out with some companies, let's go ahead and see what companies paid out this last month in our account. Seeing why that didn't load up there. Let's reset. Oh, there it went. Okay, so we're going to switch this over here. And so we got paid out from a couple different companies here in September. So you can see Discover Financial actually paid us out a nice $51.81. We also got Costco paid us out in $15.52. We got good old Home Depot paid us out in $81.61. We also have Microsoft, which was our first dividend company in this portfolio, paid us out $35.06. We also have one more payout coming out at the end of this month, but because we've already passed the dates, we actually do get that payout regardless if we sold the company or not. So let me go into my portfolio to show you. So that's going to be in our retail here. Go to the last month, and that is going to be with Ross. So we are going to get paid out $26.83 from them at the end of this month. So when I switch over to my dividend income spreadsheet here, this is something I kind of just put together for myself. A lot of companies or a lot of different websites have great data and great information when it comes to dividends, adding in your account. But one thing that most of them seem to be missing is like an actual income tracker. And so for me, what I wanted to do was actually create something like this. And you can see I started back in 2019. Now, real quick, if you are interested in getting one of this, I am giving it to you for free. If you want to join my email list, you can check out the link in the show notes down below. I don't spam you. I probably do like one email a month. And sometimes I'll share with you information I have going on or things that are coming up. For example, I actually just ended up creating my very first online course, which is called Set and Forget Retirement. So if you want to check that out, I'll also have the link in the show notes down below. So if you want to set up a retirement account, don't even think about it twice. This is going to be the course for you. It's going to help you set everything up on automatic and on autopilot, and you'll be good to go till retirement. So those are really cool things. That's essentially all I really do, is either talk about that or talk about any big news that's coming out or information you should probably know. And that's all I really do for sending you this free sheet from Google, but you can also do it on Excel. Now, let me kind of break some of this down, and I know it's kind of zoomed out a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can zoom in, and then I'm going to move around here for us as well too. So real quick, I'm going to slide all the way over here so you can see this is my monthly average that I'm getting so far in 2023, which is $100.18. This is a really big milestone when it comes to earning dividends, because obviously $100 is, 3 digits there, where we were starting off with pennies. I think I mentioned that Microsoft was my first dividend payout. I got paid out like 2 cents or something like that. And now I'm getting paid out, in the, $10, $20, $30 ranges, and added up together, I'm getting over $100 on average. And it's just so amazing. And I want to share this with people so that way they can see that progress as time goes on. Now, I know I have a decent amount in my M1 Finance account. And, for some people that is going to be something that they might not be able to attain right away, but I do love showing people this. When I started off my account, I put in $100 into this M1 Finance account. And then as I kept going, I was doing about $10 a week, and then jumped up to $20 a week, and then 30, 40. And then over time, I started adding more and more as I got more comfortable and understood where I was going, and then started making more income. And then I felt even more comfortable to be putting in that money. I don't think I could put in the amount that I was putting in today as I was a couple of years ago, because I just didn't understand where I was going, how I wanted my account to look, and how I wanted my just overall portfolio to go. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to that, which also too, by the way, I do get questions sometimes asking about how I set up my M1 account. I do have my main YouTube channel called True Financials where I do break that down. If I remember to, I'll put a thing in the description to send you to a tutorial video that breaks all of this down for you to get this looking very similar. So let's go back to our little tracker over here. So like we talked about, we are making $100 every single month. We have just different visuals of essentially the same data points, just because I like seeing them in different ways for different things. You can see my total that I've earned out from M1 Finance is about $2,600 in its life. So we started January of 2019, so a couple of years now in the books. And so let's go ahead and check this out to see. So we added up our totals for how much we made in September of 2023, and that came out to a total of $210.83, which is actually the highest month we've ever had when it comes to earning dividend income, and it's the first time we hit over $200. So some really big milestones are happening this month, and it definitely obviously took time. And I want to show that because, you know, if you look back just a couple of years ago, we made 42 cents back in 2019 at this month. And then the next year it was 30, then 77, 123, and now 210. So that's how powerful compounding is. That's how powerful consistency is when it comes to investing. And that's why I like sharing this information with people. I like kind of going over, seeing how we're doing, seeing how we're comparing ourselves to the last year, to the last quarter, right? Because we can look at September, and then a similar quarter would have been June of 2023. We made $199.30. So that was a nice bump up of almost $11 in that total right there. So for us, it is really nice to see that change and that growth, because that means we're moving in the right direction. Now, you know, you might be looking at here and say, hey, well, our October, you already have $0. Well, we actually do not get paid out any dividends as of July or April or October in those given months, because the companies that were paying out those dividends, I do not hold on to anymore. I did get into a mindset of needing to get paid out every month effectively. One day that might actually be true, and we'll kind of work on that. As of right now, I don't care if I'm getting paid all of it in 1 month or every other month or how it's working. So I ended up selling out that company that was paying out in that given month because I just didn't need that income that same way. So it's unfortunate to see $0 there, but as a whole, we're still moving in that right direction when you add things up. So let me go ahead and scroll down here and kind of show you what some of this looks like right now. So in the Q1 of 2023, we made a total of $324.95 from our M1 Finance account. And then Q2, we made $329.51. So a little bit of bump up, not a lot, but a little bit. And then you can see here in Q3, now that that is complete, we made a total of $347.38. So we are, again, moving up in even a larger percentage at this point as well, too. And we are already hitting over $1,000 in our account. And again, you can kind of see this in comparison. In 2022, all 4 quarters combined, we made a total of $944. So we already surpassed what we made last year, and we still have 3 more months to go. And typically, December sometimes has the highest earnings when it comes to our dividends. Sometimes that will include special dividends from companies such as like Costco that sometimes will add into that as well. And so you can see as of right now, we are already 6% over from what we made last year. And then you can see the different growth. Obviously, the growth has slowed down as far as percentage-wise because, you know, we went from earning 852 to 184 to 514. So obviously the percentage is going to be smaller, but as a whole, it's going to look great. My objective with the percentage would probably be to at least get to stay at 20% or more every single year with the amount of dividends earned. So if I start dipping below that, I'll look at, you know, what I'm investing in, how I'm investing, and making sure that those dividends that are getting paid out are increasing because companies are increasing their dividends, or we're consistently investing in companies that are holding strong with their dividends, because obviously companies can cut their dividends, companies can not increase their dividends. So these are things we want to consider. And in order to do that, I do check up on the news. Let me just hop in here real quick so it doesn't log out. We hop on the news. So on seekingalpha.com, which is one company I absolutely love getting all my information from, one of the things I love the most is I'm sitting here on my M1 account. And so it has all of my holdings and everything else as well. I can see, my dividends. If I click on here, I can see when they're getting paid out, when the ex-dividend date is, just a bunch of information. But the other thing I love too is that when I scroll down here, this is the latest news from only the companies that I have in my portfolio, or at least this portfolio in particular. And that's something I absolutely love. So that way I can keep track and make sure that I'm really following the news from the companies that I'm holding, because I want to pay attention. I want to know what is going on. And then of course, when they have their quarterly earnings, I can go to the transcripts and I can see and hear the things that are going on those calls. So I can make sure that the companies I'm invested in are going through to the path that they are saying that they're going through, or that, if things have changed, if I want to keep investing with them. So that's just something that I do. And, doing due diligence is really important when it comes to investing, because you want to make sure, yes, it's great to invest in companies you like to use, like, Amazon, if you're a big fan, or Target, or any of these companies, as you are as a person who uses that product. And also we want to make sure that we're still keeping an eye out on where they're going. Plus, it's kind of cool to hear about things that will be happening with a company you personally love to use, because these calls sometimes will have really cool information on the back end, especially when you are listening to these companies. Yeah, sometimes they have lots of numbers being thrown out, and as a whole, I think they're really valuable for investors for the long term, especially for somebody like me who is investing for 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So like I mentioned, we are now earning over $100 every single month, and that is only going to continue to grow. We're going to get to $250, then we're going to get to one day $1,000 a month. So make sure you are following along by, of course, hitting that subscribe button. Hit that like button if you are enjoying these types of videos so you can get them more as I release them. And just to be able to continue on and learning more when it comes to dividends and investing, check out my video right over here to keep on learning. My name is Dennis, and I'll see you in that next video.